Hey, this is Kat from Red Mountain Shaman, and I share shamanic wisdom through dreams, visions, nature, synchronicities, intuition, channeling, art, music, photography, and shamanic journeys. Welcome back to my channel. I've not made a video in a couple weeks because I've been in the hospital and recovering, but today I'm going to share my personal experiences over the past 2 weeks, some visions I was given during my time alone in the hospital, and a message from Source that I received that ties this all together at the end. So I am going to be talking about some sensitive subjects, about some severe traumas in past lives. And so if you're really sensitive to that, I just wanted to give a warning, and it's probably also not great for children. So to start off, my kinesiologist/chiropractor discovered that I had a pelvic prolapse, and this was a couple weeks ago. So I decided to do some gentle water exercise at the springs. On the way home from that, I felt a tinge in my back, and I felt like, oh no, it feels like my back's gonna go out, because I had this happen about maybe 20 years ago. My take is that my back was compensating for the muscle prolapse in the pelvic area, and this got worse over the next 2 days to the point that I was in bed. My husband Michael had a dream during the first day I was in pain that he was spending time with one of his best friends, and he was telling him about some of the trials we had been experiencing lately. In this dream, his friend said that when he experiences adversity, he would start yelling in a heavy metal voice, "Surrender, surrender, surrender." And he would repeat that until his voice became calm. On day 2 of my back pain, Michael was leaving work, and he said he clearly heard a voice say in a low, mildly foreign accent, "Take care of your beloved. Don't be selfish." Needless to say, this was spirit preparing him for what was to come. That night, I called my son over because things got so bad, I just wanted to see him. He and Michael prayed with me and sent healing to me, but the pain still progressed to the point that I was unable to get into my bed or go to the bathroom. We decided to make the difficult decision to call an ambulance and have them take me to the hospital where I could be cared for, because at this point I was totally immobilized. I spent several hours waiting in a bed in the emergency room, and I finally told my boys to go home, and I would call them when I knew more. Laying there alone, I got a text from a person who follows my channel, and it was really nice to have a kindred spirit to talk to. So thank you to that person who uplifted me in my time of need. You know who you are. The doctors decided to put me through several scans, including an X-ray, MRI, and an ultrasound. Over the next few days, my friend Michaela was sending me energy healing and providing a lot of emotional support over the phone, which was so comforting. And Michaela, if you're listening, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. So Michaela also brings messages from Yeshua on her YouTube channel, which is called Medium Michaela, and she is at Christ Phoenix Rising Academy if you want to check out her work. Anyway, through Michaela, Yeshua told me that I would be out of the hospital in about a week. The next few days were very challenging. Because we could not afford health insurance, social workers kept coming into my room trying to qualify us for financial aid. We always seemed to be just barely above the qualifying level for Medicaid. Once we tried to qualify for my son, and they literally told us we made $1 too much. Through this experience, I learned firsthand how broken our healthcare system is, especially when we got our bill for $40,000. And that was after they shaved off a mere $13,000 discount. Soon, physical therapists would come in trying to get me to move, but I was in so much pain I could barely even roll over in the bed. A few days later, I could sit up, but was still in excruciating pain. Finally, I was able to put my legs over the bed and take one step, and then I had to lay back down. At this point, they tried to discharge me. My take is that the hospital was losing money on a low-income family with no insurance, so they wanted me out of there as soon as possible. The next day, 2 nurses came in and forced me out of bed and tried to have me use a bedside commode. They each had one arm and lifted me up over it as I was screaming and crying in pain. They demanded that I just go pee. My pelvis simply refused to straighten out, and they finally gave up and hauled me back into the hospital bed. During this time, my amazing partner Michael visited me twice a day, bringing me fresh, healthy food. But I still had a lot of downtime alone. I read parts of the Kabbalion, which I highly recommend, by the way, if you're interested in Hermetic principles. I also did a lot of meditation and shamanic journeys. In one journey, I was shown myself floating in what looked like a space where the earth had opened up and there was a violet blue sea of stars surrounding me. I was connected by a silver cord. I was not sure what this meant, but it felt very calm and relaxing. I just heard, "You are held safe within the womb of Mother Earth." Another vision I had was simply a ballet slipper pivoting on point. I heard, "Pivotal moment in pivoting times." In another journey, I was visited by Sitting Bull and Red Cloud. They took me for a ride in a canoe inside a cave or tunnel. I tried to stand up in the canoe and it started rocking, and they both said, "Sit down, it's not time yet. Be patient." I sat down, and within a few minutes, we were at the end of the cave or tunnel and being birthed out into the bright sun. The journey just ended with us rowing into the sun. I interpret this to be a dual meaning. One was possibly for me to be patient and that I would get out of the hospital soon. And the other was for the collective to be patient, and we will start exiting the birth canal soon. If you remember a recent video I made where Michaela and I both clairaudiently heard a scream on the same night, I feel that when a woman is screaming during the birth process, she is pretty close to birthing that baby. As we are birthing a new cycle or a new earth, the birthing pains can be challenging. Another vision I had during these journeys was the image of a long dragon who went from green to blue to white, and then it formed a circle around a golden chalice that had coins falling out of it. It is the year of the dragon, so I'll leave this interpretation to the listeners. Feel free to leave your own interpretations of this in the comments. On another night, I was journeying and I was led to release some severe trauma and torture from a past life. 4 years ago, as a backstory, I was shown an image of the Roman Emperor Nero. I had no idea why I was shown this, but I thought it might be some sort of historical reason. Then, about a month ago, I was shown a woman with a big jug of water next to a well, and I heard, "The woman at the well." I looked this up the next day for context on the internet. The first thing I clicked on was, whatever happened to the woman at the well? The answer was that she was spreading the teachings of Christ, and Nero found her and put her to death. And I kept hearing the word disemboweled. So I knew this was probably a metaphor for how I passed away in that lifetime. So during this journey, a whole group of people came forward, and they all had a beautiful golden glow in their light bodies. I was shown that these were those who followed the Christed light and were tortured and put to death for their beliefs by Nero of Rome. Yeshua stood with me as they encircled us, and we did a beautiful ceremony to release that trauma from the entire group and myself. It was very emotional. The next night, this same group of souls came back to visit me and thanked me and honored me. And then other beings joined in, and they all danced in a circle around me. It was very beautiful. A few years ago, I was also shown 2 other past lives where I had similar severe trauma in the pelvic area. In one, I was shown that I was an herbalist of some sort to the king, and I was treating his wife for infertility, but she kept having miscarriages. So he finally had me put to death, thinking that I was the cause of them. And he did this with a torture device called the Pear of Anguish. During this time, I kept having pain in my pelvic region, so I decided to visit 2 nearby friends who do shamanic healing. Without telling them about this, one of them drew a picture of this horrific torture device that I was shown in the meditation. About a year later, I encountered a film in which this device was used on one of the characters to get her to confess to something, and it really triggered something within me. So, on to the very first past life I was shown, and this was just as dramatic. I had been bothered by some sort of shadow figure on and off throughout my life. When my guides started to work with me during my first shamanic initiation, this dark being started coming around again. Several strange things happened around this time. For instance, one day I found a piece of artwork I had made that was very empowering for me, face down on the floor, and nobody had been home when it happened. Then my son saw a bathtub stopper fly across the bathroom. I actually saw the shadow figure, and a friend who was visiting me also saw one at this point. Then one night, our cat woke up our son to a black widow in his bed. I was not yet knowledgeable about what to do about this sort of thing, and my psychic abilities had started to kick in. So I asked who this being was, and I heard the name Jay. I was guided to go to the internet and look up a Chinese emperor of the Ming dynasty. And I found a ruler who was named Jai, so that's pretty close to Jay. And the last name was Jing, so his name was Emperor Jai Jing. I was shown that I was part of his concubine, and my name was Consort Duan. About a year before all of this happened, I went on a retreat with a friend who considered herself to be psychic, and she told me that she saw me as some sort of mistress, and that I was the favorite, so I had certain privileges, although I was basically captive in a situation of sexual slavery. Now, if you Google Emperor Jiajing and Consort Duan, you will find that this is the actual historical story, the way that the psychic described to me. And Consort Duan was also put to death in a very horrific way. And I personally believe that this emperor was practicing black magic. So during my initiation, I was able to banish him to a place where he could no longer come back and torment people on this plane. So after all of these synchronicities, it made me a firm believer in past lives after being raised in the Mormon Church, which did not teach this at all. I've come to the conclusion that our physical health issues can often not only be a result of our health habits, but also a result of past life trauma. Each of these past lives had to do with trauma in the pelvic area, and it's my belief that this is partially why this whole area in my body finally came to a crisis and needed healing. On the morning of the 7th day in the hospital, I heard a low, booming voice say, "And on the 7th day." So I thought to myself, wow, I can still barely walk. Am I really going to get to go home today? Not more than a minute later after I heard this, my friend Robin Rice texted me. She's also a shamanic practitioner, by the way, and she has a new YouTube channel if you want to check out her work. I had asked Robin to pray for me right before I went into the hospital. She sent me photos of an intention to the angels and a crystal grid that she put it under. In the text that morning, she said, "The crystal grid I made for you wanted me to light 3 candles this morning. I feel you're going to make a breakthrough today." Needless to say, all of a sudden that afternoon, I was able to start moving around with much more ease and less pain, so I asked the physical therapist to come back and test me again to see if I could get up the few stairs so I could go home. I was released that evening. So, as I was recovering at home, I felt drawn to draw a few cards from my Isis deck for me and my friend Michaela a few nights ago, because we've both been experiencing a lot of challenges. 2 of the cards that were pulled were about initiation. To me, this whole experience does feel much like another initiation. I have also heard a few people mention that the wounded healer archetype is in the astrology this month. I am definitely feeling like the wounded healer right now. Yesterday, I was in the bath feeling my C-section scar. Recently, I learned that scars and fascia can also hold trauma. For some reason, I started remembering the birth of my son, and I had a tearful, emotional release because his birth was so traumatic that both of us almost died. When I told Michael about this, about an hour later, he reminded me that day that it was the day I would have been going into labor 20 years ago, because our son's birthday was the next day. We both got wide-eyed at this realization because, of course, it would be the perfect day to release that trauma. And here we are today. It is a powerful eclipse day and the anniversary of my son's birth. And I'm thinking how grateful I am that I had him. He's such an amazing person, and I would have not changed anything that we went through to have him in my life. So part of my view of this experience is that there are several layers to what happened to me over the last few weeks. There's so much to be learned from unexpected challenges, and after dealing with my son's health issues as a result of an injection injury, I have learned that what seems like unwanted trials at the time can later be looked back upon with a sense of deeper understanding of how that challenge or initiation was part of our learning and advancement. I am also learning to heal my physical body in ways that the mainstream doctors really have no clue about. I've always said allopathic medicine is great at stabilizing acute trauma or needed surgery and temporary pain relief, but there are so many amazing holistic treatments that they do not incorporate or are not even taught about. This experience has and will continue to take me into all kinds of deep dives to heal myself. I feel like my healing journey has really just begun for my current conditions, even though I have been released from the care of the hospital doctors. Already, I'm learning more about things like hormone balance, scar remediation, detox and drainage pathways, fascia trauma release, block work, acupuncture, and more. What deeper motivation to learn about healing than when you yourself are needing to heal? This is why the wounded healer is such a powerful archetype. Before I get into the channeled message today, I wanted to thank all of the clients I have had to reschedule for having patience with me. And I want to thank those who visited me and prayed with me and for me. You know who you are. Hopefully, I'll be able to start doing sessions again next month. Enjoy the message. March 25th, full moon, eclipse message from Source Creator. Sorrow prepares you for joy. We are with you now, dearest daughter of light. We now invoke the blessings that humanity is calling out for and yearning for. We, as your mother and father of all creation, want to see you thrive. We want you to overcome. We want to see you learn and grow. We want you triumphant. As the source of all life, we are indeed within your very being, and you are co-creating your experiences with us. You knew exactly what your soul needed and wanted to experience before you even entered into this incarnation of yours. As we have brought the Rumi quote to your attention with today's music that you are listening to as you hear our words, we would ask that you repeat it for your listeners and for your own integration of this concept. The great poet Rumi has stated, "Sorrow prepares you for joy. It violently sweeps everything out of your house so that new joy can find space to enter. It shakes the yellow leaves from the boughs of your heart so that fresh green leaves can grow in their place. It pulls up the rotten roots so that new roots hidden beneath them have room to grow. Whatever sorrow shakes from your heart, far better things will take their place." As these inspired words explain, it is within you to bear your sorrows with trust, hope, and faith in the power of the God force within you to see yourself through to the light of a new day. You are never alone, my children of the sun. Walk with us and listen for our voice within your own soul. Listen for the guides who abide with you in spirit. Trust us when we say we hold you in the womb of Mother Sophia. Your physical body is anchored by the silver cord as you enter the space of love where time is not relevant. Go within and find the 0 point where you are held in pure love and suspended in the void of creation, where all that is illusion falls away and your true self emerges in the oneness of all that is. This practice of meditation will help you bring yourself back to your true self. As your own song says, sorrow has opened our eyes. Humanity is now beginning to see and release the many sorrows that have been other than our perfect creation as loving source of all that is. Find rest in our infinite love and rest assured that we indeed have you and hold you through this rocky time on planet Earth. Remember that you are also an eternal being and that those who choose to leave the earth plane at this time are also eternal beings, and all is a circle or a round or cycle of ebb and flow and development or regression. We are pleased to inform you that even though the world does indeed seem to appear to be in a regressive state, the earth and her inhabitants are actually moving even closer toward the 0 point where heaven and earth meet. By this we mean that all that has been experienced in the past cycles are now coming to a close. Some may call this an apocalypse, and this would be true, as an apocalypse is merely the unveiling or uncovering of something, and it is now time to pull the lid off of and expose what is not of our light. As this transition into the light ensues, there are sometimes hidden things that need to be seen in order to truly move ahead into new consciousness and perspectives. Be at peace, child, and know that with the unveiling of darkness, there also comes the light, and with the unveiling comes correction, as many who were blind will begin to see with new eyes. The God within you wants you to overcome and rebuild. We desire the restoration of the beauty and creative powers within you, unrestricted. And so it is that we will soon begin this restoration. As another of your songs state, all things will be restored. Nothing is ever really lost in the cycles of creation, and all is an eternal round. We leave you with this message, with our love and everlasting support. Even through your dark night of the soul, you are never alone, for we are within you and all around you, and we are constantly speaking to the hearts of those who will take the time to listen. And so it is. Thank you, Great Spirit, Mother, Father, God. That was such an important message for me, and I'm sure a lot of other people who are going through challenges right now. So I was not expecting to have some of the songs we've written mentioned in this message, so I had to go back and listen to the lyrics to them because they're older songs that we've done, but they are related to what's being said here. So if you want to go hear those songs, they are on our album called Garden of Deceit. And the titles of the songs are Sorrow Has Opened Our Eyes and Restored. You can find our records on Bandcamp under our name Palodine, Palodine, and listen for free there or download for your personal collection. Or you can find our music on most streaming platforms, including YouTube. Keep in mind that we come from a rock background, so not everybody's going to resonate with the heavier sound that we create. But I do feel I've been channeling music lyrics from my higher self for a long time, and the content is still very spiritual. So this is just our way of expressing ourselves, as everyone has their own energetic signature when they create something. I also wanted to announce that we have a new project of more meditative shamanic journey music that we will be releasing soon for those who enjoy that sort of thing. And I've had a difficult time myself finding shamanic music that I like and meditation music that I like, so we just decided to start creating our own for those who like a bit of a heavier sound. There are a couple things I do enjoy for my own shamanic journeying on YouTube, and I recommend Tim Norton and also Laramar Sound Alchemy, who both have YouTube channels for their music. So thank you for being here, and if you're enjoying the content that I provide on this channel, please share it with like-minded people and press like, subscribe, and the notification bell, leave a comment, and check back for my weekly videos in case you're unsubscribed accidentally. Wink, wink by YouTube. If you are interested in a session with me, or you'd like your own personal channeled message, energy work, oracle readings, and other healing services, you can go to my website, redmountainshaman.com, to learn more. And once again, a reminder, I probably won't be able to be accepting sessions until about 2 weeks or so, I would think. I'll let you guys know. But sending you all love until the next episode, and take care. We'll talk soon.